Hi guys, Flying Pig Games here. I'm joined by Jay again.
Hello.
So we're gonna do, this video's gonna be like a pre-match cup. Fuck.
Try post-match commentary, you tit.
What he said, commentary of the game, recent Dawn of War game posted to YouTube. Because it went quite interestingly. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you have, that's why you're here. Yeah. Shush.
Brilliant.
Right. We're gonna. So as you can see on the mini map down here, I've got Fog of War turned off. So you can see I started up here in this corner. Jay started down here in this corner. Right. Are you ready to start playing? In 3, 2, 1, click.
Play. Okay.
So, as
I started by putting down 5 plasma generators.
Yeah.
And Tom put down the chapel barracks.
Yeah.
I've got some scouts going, and so do you, but I've got 2 sets of scouts, so I was covering a bit more area than you were.
Yeah, so Jay was getting off the mark and getting all the resources quicker than me. He had far more power early on and far more requisition points. Now, as you can see, like a scrub, I had my servitors stood doing nothing for some time.
Yeah.
Which is no great
surprise. You got an armory and a stronghold up, and the chapel barracks up pretty quick.
Yeah. As you can see, Jay's already capturing a critical location. And he's already moved for the middle.
Yeah.
Now,
I've also got listening posts down already.
Oh, have you?
All the points I've captured. Yeah. Well, I've got them in the build queue.
Okay. Now, if you saw the other video, you'll remember this middle point became quite a critical location.
I assume that's why they're called critical locations. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, but we had quite the fight over it. Now, as you can see, Jay's already branched out to this side as well and is going for that relic there.
Yeah. And I'm sending a skull probe just to see where things are. And I've already figured out where's Tom's base is from that.
Yeah, see, at this point, I still had no idea where Jay was. The first thing I knew of where he was that he had stuff at the middle. That was about all I knew.
Yeah, and that served me very well later on.
Now, my problem there was when I approached the middle and got attacked, I pulled back and then sort of just sat there and didn't try and push in any other direction.
No, you did fortify that fairly well though, which helped you later. I probably should have pushed up a little bit more, and it might have gone differently. I also started peppering your servitor, but I paid for it because by the time you got that heavy bolter turret down, you saw my infiltrated units.
Yeah.
So you can see I'm reinforcing the squad there slowly.
Yeah.
At this point, I probably should have considered getting some vehicles and that, but I didn't think it was that big a threat at the time. Instead, I got the Space Marines up.
Now, as you can see, I'm getting a small army here of Grey Knights, Assault Marines and Marines. What I really should have done, instead of focusing on that middle point, was pushed round on one of the flanks a bit more. That might have helped me.
The other thing is I've also got that secondary base going now, so you can see my chapel barracks and machine cult off to the side.
Yeah,
and again, that played an important role.
See, at this point I'm starting to build a secondary, not a secondary stronghold, but some secondary structures. I've got a machine cult up here. Now that did help quite a bit, and that's something I'm usually pretty bad at doing.
Yeah, I mean that it was pretty good, but when I mean, it's better that you built 2 now, but when you actually look at whereabouts they are so close that it's very little difference.
True.
If you had, as you said, gone down one of the flanks, then that's a second direction, and if you had built further up, that would have been a much faster route to the battlefield.
See, what I should have done is probably built over by this relic I've now captured over here. And again, as you can see, I've got my infiltrated marines just stood doing nothing, which is a bit of a waste. Now you can see this middle point just becomes very much a sort of a standoff situation. Neither of us,
it's like that for a little while.
Yeah, neither of us have the ability to completely push through the other's line.
No, and here's where I start. I start to make a mistake soon after this because I start to leave it alone. I've got a rhino sitting there, and here's my big mistake. I have my units in my rhino, and I'm thinking about sort of pushing through, but then Tom makes the advance. I can't, for whatever reason, get those units out of that rhino for a good little while, and by that time it's already too late.
Yeah, so I've pushed everything forward to there, and then, oh no, this isn't the one, okay.
No, but this is the start of it. So,
actually, as you can see, Jay's got a Land Raider up now. Now, I am slightly lagging in that respect. I've got the ability to get a Land Raider, but I don't yet. In fact, yeah, I've just got mine now.
Yeah, and again, I sort of neglect this spot a bit because I've got a little plan around the side. I don't think I've implemented that yet, though. Yeah, I'm building up my orbital relay and basically doing what Tom normally does, which is just sit there preparing.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying much attention to this middle point at all.
Oh, and you can see these scouts at the side have moved forward and are attacking this point here, which was, which was what I wanted, or should have been doing originally, but I was nowhere near quick enough off the mark. Now, as you can see, I brought Terminators in, but Jay countered with a Dreadnought.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Tom. With those Terminators, you basically had them unreinforced and dropped them in like that. What you can do is drop them next to your barracks, reinforce them, and then put them back in your barracks and deep strike them again.
Should have done that then. But yeah, that was a big mistake for me because I basically lost every unit I had on this flank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this also let me expand, and this bit actually becomes a very important point later. Because I've also got my Dreadnought just sitting further out the way. As you can see, here's where I do that exact thing to my Terminators. I've got them sitting outside the chapel barracks, and I think I'm going to put them in soon.
Yeah.
I can't. Oh no, I'm deep striking them for the.
Now, as you can see up here, there's another battle for the middle going on.
Yeah, and I'm not paying any attention to that. I'm just losing my unit.
Instead of trying to finish the battle, I choose to push off to this side to search for Jay and actually find his secondary base.
Yeah. In the meantime, I've got my Terminators attacking his base. Now, this is frankly appalling. The biggest issue here is actually that whirlwind, and that is just continually shelling me and disrupting my units. If I had moved up and dealt with that, this may have gone differently. But there was so much stuff up there I just didn't want to.
I wasn't paying enough attention up here, really. I let Jay destroy a good portion of my base, which did put quite a hurting on me.
Now,
and in fact, you can see
this is very important, actually. If you go back down to the bottom, I have just lost my only stronghold. I do not have a stronghold at the moment. If you look, I also only have one servitor remaining.
Yeah, and no, you do have a stronghold where my relic was, but that's the only one you have left.
Where? What?
You know, on the left-hand side from the centre.
Oh, I've just made that stronghold.
Oh, have you? Okay, my bad.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, so at this point, he is very much in a bad situation.
Yeah.
Now,
what I actually do here is just pump out a few more servitors, and they're building a stronghold back where you destroyed my secondary base.
Yeah.
I then take another servitor down and rebuild one slightly off to the side from that original base next to a listening post that you didn't destroy.
Aha. So that's when you built that, yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm just pushing around the map trying to find all his strongholds. Now, I was somewhat worried because I didn't know what he had left. You know, I was surprised he was still in the game. So I'm thinking he must have a massive force hidden somewhere that's waiting to attack me.
When in actual fact, I had 2 lots of scouts and I think 3 servitors at this point. No, 4 servitors.
So
I do have a full complement of servitors.
At this point, I could have taken it had I been quicker and had I actually paid attention to my base. However, the mistake I made here is because I wasn't seeing much resistance from him at this point, I basically assumed I'd won it and it was just a matter of cleaning up.
Yeah.
When in fact that wasn't the case.
By now I've still got 4 servitors and I've got 3 strongholds in the works.
Yeah, as you can see, I've completely neglected my base. Most of what was there has been destroyed. There's barely any defences left. At this moment, I'm just completely focused on pushing round, trying to take everything Jay has. Now, the issue I was having was I was struggling to find him. So I figured deprive him of his strategic points so he can't build more stuff.
Yeah, one issue you had here was you only had 1 unit capturing points.
Yeah.
If you had sent multiple units out and scouted a bit, you might have had more of a chance.
Yeah.
Here, we can see the effect of unreinforced Space Marines versus a Land Raider and some Terminators.
And you see, this is actually quite important, that as I pushed down here, all my units stayed way over this side and went straight in here.
Yeah.
What you're about to see is I completely miss this secondary here, which is almost completely undefended and has Jay's only power.
It's got 2 heavy bolter turrets and my only power source for most of the rest of the game.
Now you see up here, this is where he's building all his units, but obviously he needs power to do that.
Yeah.
And notice the massive amount of heavy bolter turrets.
There was a point there where I was managing with about 87 power, I think.
Wow. Also notice this stronghold here.
Yeah. This stronghold is another decoy because I'm putting down lots and lots of heavy bolter turrets around it.
Yeah.
If Tom ever came back up this way, he'd have to spend a good little while destroying that. And in the meantime, I could potentially do something else.
Now you see, I find this base and get absolutely mullered by these turrets.
And now, I am desperately producing dreadnoughts and whatever I can in order to sustain it.
Now at this point, I was under the impression that this must be his last base. But obviously, as you can see, he's got 2 others as well. No, he's actually building a 4th stronghold up here now.
Yeah. Now that stronghold doesn't play a lot, but it was there in case it was needed.
Yeah. So, honestly, at this point, I didn't know it, but I think at this point, I'd lost it again. I had the advantage earlier when he was down to 1 stronghold. At this point, I've lost this again. Jay's back, pulling it back far faster than I can do anything. Now you can see I've built another army up here at my main base. Well, my only base. And shortly I'm going to push that. In fact, there we go. It's pushing down to Jay's big base here, which he's got a lot of units at. Now
this was the real contest of force.
Yeah.
I sent up a bunch of Grey Knights, which were continually reinforcing. They didn't really do a lot, but they did slow your army down.
Yes.
Which was handy.
And they split my army up, so it all arrived at different times.
Yeah, and that, to be honest, I think that helped quite a bit as well. If you had maybe stayed and concentrated and destroyed each squad as it came, again, this may have turned out differently.
But equally, at that point, I didn't realise you had such a large force. I still very much thought you were on the losing hand.
Yeah.
Because if you've watched the actual episode of this, Jay was very much playing the deception card.
Eldar, even when not playing Eldar, it's my speciality. No, but to be honest, until I got to this point, I was genuinely fearful of loss.
Yeah.
This was the first point I actually felt that I had a chance. And even then, I am only producing 70 power per second or whatever it is. And I've got about 2,000 power. So see, I am struggling here. I see you go to take this bit, and I'm like, I'm taking this chance. My army goes straight up, and it barely even acknowledges your defences here. It's just going straight for that central base.
Yeah.
Now, you go to follow me, but then turn around thinking you can take out my base first.
Yeah.
This is the point where it was a definite victory for me, because I was sitting quite happily on 3 more bases.
Yeah, see, I didn't know about those 3 bases. I thought he was so much on the back foot that that base there was his last ditch attempt, but evidently not.
Well, no, it was my last ditch attempt. It's just I make more than one last ditch attempt at a time. So, yeah. And there we go. Hour-long game in 30-odd minutes.
Yeah. So, hopefully you've all enjoyed this and enjoyed the kind of after, post, pre-commentary, post thing. Whatever you want to call it.
Post-game report.
That's the one.
This was done like a week later, so I can't really remember what happened now. But
really, I made several crucial mistakes. First of which being I only really had 1 base, 1 stronghold. I should have pushed out over on this flank and got a stronghold round here. Maybe near the relic, or maybe near this stronghold Jay has. I then tried taking his this strategic point that Jay had initially from this relic, but didn't throw enough force at him to actually take it. What I should have done is put a big force that way and flanked this central point. And other than that, then I got unlucky with this power generation base, and
basically it was a comedy of errors.
Pretty much.
Sometimes creating defences can alert other people to your presence.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not thinking they're going to find anything instantly.
Yeah. I mean, you got very lucky there that none of my units happened to stray this way and spot that, and spot any of it.
Yeah, I did. But if you had come towards that base, I had the base on the other side, and vice versa. The trouble is, it puts you in the middle to start with. So my contingency plan for this was just, here is a base and here is another base. Which one is he going to go for?
Yeah.
And if need be, I was just going to have all those Space Marines I just built sit there, or run up to the top and attack your base from the side.
Yeah.
It just so happened that that was the base you decided to attack.
And then obviously I made the mistake of not defending my base near the end because I thought you'd won, or because I thought I'd won. And I think that was one of my crucial mistakes, was neglecting that base. Especially
it's a pity you can't rewind, because I'd actually like to see what your total resources were at the end there. And if you would have actually had enough that if you had got a couple of servitors going, you could have actually rebuilt any of that or expanded further.
Oh, I had thousands of resources. Like, seriously, up until the point where I attacked that base down at the, your big base down here. Up until the point I attacked that, I hadn't built any new units. So from when I attacked the central point and pushed across to the point I attacked that base down there, I barely built any new units or buildings.
Yeah. Whereas if you look at me, I'd almost done the opposite.
Yeah.
I hadn't gone into attack until I was fairly confident I could break through.
See, after I pushed that base over here and took that, I was fairly confident that I was gonna beat you and could use the forces I had to take out whatever you had left. Because, I was deluded into thinking this was the main base here. And then when I took the one down here out as well, your original, I thought I had it in the bag at that point.
If it were me, this is where a rather underutilized unit comes into effect, and that is skull probes. Skull probes have a huge vision, can detect infiltrated units, and you can build 4 of them at no cost to your population. If you had built 4 of them and just sent them to each of the bases that you didn't occupy, I think it would have gone differently again, because that would have limited me to the corridor bits and the central point. Once you capture the central point and maybe 2 or 3 of those, you've vastly limited the movements I can make undetected.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And if a skull probe gets destroyed, you know something's there.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, when I was saying that I thought I had it in the bag at the end until you destroyed that base, when your Land Raider rolled past me, that should have served as a clue that something was going down and that you weren't as on the back foot as I was thinking.
Yeah.
A large part
of any strategy game, as far as I'm concerned, is misinformation.
Yeah.
I will build a small force, and I'll keep that force for a good little while, so my opponent will think, well, that's all the force he's got. Then I will chuck a huge force in, preferably undetected in some way, and this is where webways and the deep striking come in, and just attack from the rear while you're out busy doing something else.
But it's not webways in this, is it? Because we're Marines, not Eldar.
No, that's why I said deep striking.
Well, yeah.
Tom, even when I'm playing Marines, I'm Eldar, as demonstrated. I mean, I'm building a turret in your base. What the hell do you think I am?
Where is that
If
turret?
you look there, it's just off to the side.
Oh yeah.
I've got 2 heavy bolt turrets, just one built, one ready to be built. Even that would have helped if you had just sent a servitor out after your army and built a heavy bolt turret.
Yeah. should have done that. Even just to slow you down a bit.
Exactly. Because a heavy bolter turret can eliminate a servitor going past, and even if you don't see it, then all it takes is a listening post or something like that, and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing you need to think about when you're doing that advance. The other thing is, I'd consider taking, like I said, a squad of Scout Marines or even a Skull Probe around, and just getting them to take the points that you destroy.
Yeah.
Rather than having
can
your
Skull Probes take points?
No, but you can attach them to a squad of Scout Marines, and then the whole squad's infiltrated. And can detect infiltrated units because of the Skull Probe.
Okay, that's cool.
So it'll also keep up with the squad. Another thing, and I don't think I used this in this game, but I think I used this in a game we didn't record, was Skull Probes actually have the Sabotage ability. The Sabotage ability comes at the cost of the Skull Probe, so you sacrifice the Skull Probe to do this.
So what, it's like got a detonator in it or something?
Listen to the whole thing. It stops the production of that building.
Ooh.
So, I mean, it pauses the production for a good few seconds. And that can be really important. It can be the difference between someone making a Land Raider and not making a Land Raider.
Yeah. That would have been useful, certainly in some other games I've played.
Yeah. So it can literally be just a clench few seconds.
Yeah.
As either your force gets there and gets queued up in time to deal with it, or even manages to destroy the building making it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But again, despite all of your resources, I don't think Skull Probes actually saw action on your side this game much. I think there was a little bit of play in the middle, but I can't really remember.
Yeah, I kept sending a couple of Skull Probes down here to find your scouts, but I didn't really do anything with them other than send them around.
They are a very handy unit to have, and I actually use them in a few of our games when I'm playing Marines.
Yeah, I think what I need to do though is link them to a unit. I didn't realise you could do that. Because the trouble I was having is either they'd fly ahead and get killed instantly, and then my units would arrive and not be able to see anything. Or my units would get there, take a bunch of damage before the Skull Probe arrived and allowed them to deal with it.
Yeah. The thing is, the Skull Probe becomes visible when attached to a regular unit. So unless it's attached to Scout Marines with the infiltrated ability, I believe they're still visible.
I thought they were visible anyway, actually.
No, there's a research that infiltrates them as well.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So it's worth getting that and worth getting the infiltrate with the Scouts as well. Yeah.
Okay. So I think really that match though could have gone either way for quite a while.
It definitely could have. And until I'd established 2 of my bases, and I mean established that it could actually defend itself.
Yeah.
I was cacking myself with this match.
Yeah, I mean, I just made a couple of crucial errors that basically handed the victory to Jay.
And I fully exploited those errors and took the victory you so graciously gave me.
See, Jay's very good at the whole deception, misinformation, and making use of other people's screw-ups. Whereas I'm not.
I'm not actually a good player of this game. I'm just good at taking advantage of when other people are bad players.
That makes me sound like such a great player. And,
but you played really well in this game up to the point where you didn't.
I've done something screwy with my camera angle, and I don't know how to fix it.
Oh, what have you done this time? Is it that page up, page down? I can't remember how you do it now.
Page up, page... No, I've got, like, a bird's eye view now. It's gone straight down. It's pointing pretty much straight down. I think I wedged my camera into a corner and it didn't like it.
Oh. I can't remember how you fix that, but that's your own fault. Dumb shit. I've somehow got it really zoomed in and can't remember how to fix it, so... Shall we cut that there? No, I mean, like, different to that.
Yeah, let's leave it there. So for anyone watching, if you liked, please do leave a like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you thought, how bad I was, how bad Jay was.
He was shit!
Yeah. So let me know if you want more Dawn of War, more Jay, more whatever. You get the idea. Bye.
I'm helping.
Bye for now.
Bye!